multiport junction. So from that we discussed waveguide junction types. So in the waveguide junction type, we have main types of waveguide junctions are three. First one E-type T junction, H-type T junction, magic T junction. So in the magic T junction, we have some disadvantages. So we will get it as some reflections. So how to we will get the reflections inside the waveguide junction means due to impedance mismatch. Due to impedance mismatch, you are getting reflections inside the waveguide junction. So for overcoming that, what you need to use? You need to go for hybrid ring waveguide junction. So with in that, what you have to use for overcoming this hybrid waveguide junction means just you need to remember for overcoming those type of problems, you need to what you need to use. Tell me, for reducing that, you need to use matching techniques. So normally, what you will use in the waveguides, if you want to removing the energy from the waveguide, you need to insert either post or screws. You need to insert either screws or posts inside the waveguide. So same scenario or same techniques, matching techniques here also you need to apply. Here also you need to apply and to overcome these reflections and impedance mismatches. So with the help of these you need to match the impedances, then you will overcome the reflections and you will able to reduce the power handling capacity, power handling finality, what will be get it from the waveguides or waveguide junctions. So with the help of this only you need to overcome the reflections and impedance mismatches and power loss inside the waveguide junction. Coming to today's topic, ferrites. Coming to today's topic, ferrites. So the basic importance and the basic uses of the ferrite is the general property of ferrite is which includes the high magnetic permeability and high electrical resistance, which means that high permeability to magnetic fields is particularly desirable in devices such as antennas, and high resistance and high resistance to electricity is desirable in the course of transformers. Just you need to remember from electrical technology subject. So in the transformers we have a core. Yes or no? So in the transformer you have a core. So in that the desirable electricity we will get it in the core of transformers to reduce the eddy currents. So for that purpose you need to use high resistances. Fine. So the general uses of that is you know it from the first 3 points, and today the ferrite is a ceramic material which will be made by mixing and firing large proportions of iron oxide, which will be getting from group 3 elements. Okay, which will be blended with small proportions of one or more additional metallic elements such as barium, such as barium, manganese, nickel, and zinc. Just you need to remember. So the ferrite is a ceramic material. The ferrite is ceramic material made by mixing and firing large proportions of group 3 elements, which will be blending with the small proportions of one or more additional metallic elements such as barium, manganese, nickel and zinc. Nickel and zinc. So they are electrically non-conductive. They are electrically non-conductive, meaning that they are insulators and ferromagnetics. They are electrically non-conductive, which means that they are insulators and ferromagnetic, which means that they can easily be magnetized or attracted to a magnet. So the meaning of insulators and ferromagnetic means they are easily be magnetized or attracted to a magnet. Attracted to a magnet. So which means that ferrites can be divided into two families. The ferrites can be divided into two families. So based on the resistance, based on the resistance to being demagnetized, which means that magnetic sorry for the disturbance. We are getting flower fluctuations. Because that reason okay, we had problem. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. Fine. The ferrites can be divided into two families. So based on the resistance to being demagnetized, the ferrites can be divided into two families based on the resistance to being demagnetized. So which means that we are classified into, we are divided into two families. The first one is the hard ferrites and the second one is soft ferrites. So we are divided into two families based on their resistance to being magnetized. So the hard ferrites, coming to hard ferrites. Hard ferrites have high coactivity, so are difficult to demagnetized. So are difficult to demagnetized. So they are used to make permanent magnetics. They are used to make permanent magnets for applications such as refrigerator magnets, loudspeakers, and small electronic motors. Just you need to remember they used to make permanent magnets for applications such as refrigerator magnets, loudspeakers, and small electric motors. So these are comes under hard ferrites. Coming to soft ferrites, soft ferrites have low coactivity, so they easily changed their magnetization and act as conductors of magnetic fields. You need to remember, soft ferrites have low coactivity, so they easily change their magnetization and act as conductors of magnetic fields. Of magnetic fields. They are used in the electronic industry. They are used in electronic industry to make efficient magnetic cores, to make efficient magnetic cores called ferrite cores. Called ferrite cores. The ferrite cores for high frequency inductors, transformers, and antennas. The ferrite cores for high frequency inductors, transformers, and antennas, and in various microwave components. And the ferrite compounds are extremely low cost, being made of mostly rusted iron. It means that iron oxide, and have excellent corrosion resistance. Which means that they are very stable and can be made with both high and low Cosi forces. They are very stable and can be made with both high and low Cosi forces, and which will be developed in Tokyo Institute of Technology, synthesized the first ferrite compound in 1930. In 1930. So this is the stack of ferrite magnet. This is the, here we have a stack ferrite magnets. You need to check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are, here we have a 10 stack of ferrite magnets. Just you need to see a stack of ferrite magnets. Next, the composition, structure, and properties of ferrites. So what are the composition of ferrite, and what is the structure of ferrite, and what are the properties of ferrite? So in the first slide we saw that we have two properties. Just you need to check it. We have properties. What are the ferrite is high magnetic permeability and high electric resistance. High permittivity and permeability and high resistance. These two are important properties of air ferrites. Next, the composition. So the ferrites are usually ferromagnetic ceramic compounds which derive from iron oxides, which derives from iron oxides, comma, and the magnetite is a famous example. This is the ferrite oxide. This is the magnetite. So like most of other ceramics, this assume ferrites are hot, brittle, and poor conductors of electricity. The most of other ceramics, the ferrites are hot, brittle, and poor conductors of electricity. Many ferrites adopt the spinel structure with the formula of Ab2O4. This is the formula for spinel structure, whereas A and B represents various metal cautions. Various metal cautions, usually including iron. So which means that here you need to take a ferrite. And the spinel ferrites usually adopt a crystal motif which consisting of a cubic close packed like a FCC, which means oxides with A cautions, occupying 1/8 of trahedral holes and B caution occupying half of the cathedral cathedral holes. Cathedral holes. Next, the ferrite crystal do not adopt the ordinary spinel structure. The ferrite crystal do not adopt the ordinary spinel structure, but rather the inverse spinel structure. Rather the inverse spinel structure, uh, 1/8 of the tetrahedral holes are occupied by B cautions, and the 1/4 of the octahedral site are occupied by A cautions. This means that and the other 1/4 by B caution, it is also possible to have mixed structure spinel ferrites with formula of this. These are you already studied from applied physics. What we get it from the first year. Just you need to remember this formula. Whereas this sigma is the degree of inversion. This sigma indicates that degree of inversion. And the magnetic material known as zinc ferrite has the formula of zinc diferrite tetroxide with formula this tetraferrite occupying the octahedral sites and zinc 2 plus occupying the tetrahedral sites. Tetrahedral sites. See, it is an example of normal structure spinel ferrite. So the sum of ferrites are adopt hexagonal crystal structure. You need to remember hexagonal crystal structure. So like barium and sodium ferrite, we have like these. You need to see these two. Barium ferrite oxide. This is the strontium ferrite oxide. So which will be adopt hexagonal crystal structure. You need to remember. We need to adopt the hexagonal crystal structure. So in the term of their magnetic properties, the different ferrites are often classified as either soft or hard. Some of the cases we will take semi-hard. Some of the cases we will take hard. So which means that depends on your requirement. You need to choose either or depends upon the properties of the magnetic fields. We will choose either soft or semi-hard or hard, which refers to their low or high magnetic coercivity. What we follows from this. So you need to see the figure. You need to see the figure. So here we have various ferrite cores what we use to make small transformers and inductors. So in the electric technology, you need to see. So we have a different or various ferrite cores which are used to make small transformers and inductors. Small transformers and inductors. Just you need to see. Just you need to see. Right. Then the next one is soft ferrites. The ferrites that are used, in transformer are electromagnetic cores which contains nickel, zinc, and are magnets compounds. So the ferrite that are used in transformers are electromagnetic cores which contains nickel, zinc, and manganese compounds. They have low coercivity and are called soft ferrites. So which transformers are made by soft ferrites, which will be how low coercivity are called as soft ferrites. So the low coercivity means that the material's magnetization can be easily reverse direction with dissipating much energy. Without dissipating much energy. You need to remember the low coercivity means that the material's magnetization can be easily reverse direction without dissipation much energy. Without dissipating much energy. Or sometimes you need to call the hysteresis losses also is called a dissipating, without dissipating. So while the materials have high resistivity, prevents eddy currents in the core, another source of energy losses. While the material's high resistivity prevents eddy currents in the core, another source of energy losses. So because of their comparatively low losses at high frequencies, they are extensively used in the course of RF transformers and inductors in the applications. So you need to remember, because of their comparatively low losses at high frequencies, they are extensively used in the course of RF transformers and inductors in applications. Such as switch remote power supplies and loop stick antennas used in AM radios. Such as switch remote power supplies and loop stick antennas used in AM radios. These are all used in amplitude modulation radios. AM radios, you are using these. Okay. Next, coming to the most common soft ferrite, manganese zinc ferrite. The most common soft ferrites are manganese zinc ferrite. So with formula of I need to remember, with the formula of this manganese zinc ferrites are I need to made. You need to make with the help of this formula. We have high permeability and saturation induction than nickel zinc. You need to remember. And we have one more nickel zinc ferrite with the formula of this. This ferrite exhibits high resistivity than manganese zinc ferrite, and are therefore more suitable for frequencies above 1 MHz. This is therefore more suitable for frequency above 1 MHz, which means that which will be related in microwave engineering. Why means here microwave signals which will be have above 1 MHz frequency range, frequency range. Nowadays all microwave signals will be have above 1 MHz frequency range. Yes or no? So this will be suitable in frequency above 1 MHz. You need to remember. This. Next one is semi-hot ferrites. So for applications below 5 MHz, so if you have some applications, they will have a below 5 MHz. So the manganese zinc ferrites are used above the nickel zinc ferrites. which is the usual choice. So generally all will be choose only nickel zinc ferrite. Okay, so which means that the nickel zinc ferrites will be having above 1 megahertz frequency signals. So here, so most of applications we are using below 1 megahertz frequency signals. This means that the zinc nickel zinc ferrite is suitable for this. Most of applications. Okay, the exemptions. The exemption is with common mode inductors. With common mode inductor, where the threshold of choice is at 70 megahertz. The common mode inductors, whereas the threshold of choice is at 70 megahertz. The next one is cobalt ferrite. Cobalt ferrite. So the cobalt ferrite oxide is in between soft and hard magnetic material, and it is usually classified as a semi-hard material. The cobalt ferrite is in between soft and hard magnetic material, and it is usually classified as a semi-hard material, and it is mainly used for its magneto restrictive applications like sensors and actuators. Thanks to its high saturation magnetostriction, which is almost equals to 200 ppm point to point, and this cobalt ferrite oxide has also the benefits to be radiant free, which makes it a good substitute for terphenol D. Terphenol D is that moreover its magnetostrictive properties can be tuned by inducing a magnetic uniaxial anisotropy. Uniaxial anisotropy. So it means that this loss solution has the advantage to be ultra fast thanks to the use of spark plasma sintering. Sintering means fer ferritase. Sintering is ferritase. Ferritase means it is the process of it is the process of compacting and forming a solid mass of material by pressure without melting it to be point of liquefaction. This means that it is a process of compacting or forming a solid mass of material by process or by heating without melting, by heating or by pressure without melting. You need to remember the process of compacting or forming a solid mass of material by heat or pressure without melting is called sintering. Here we have a spark plasma sintering. Okay, so the induced magnetic anisot anisotropy in cobalt ferrite is also beneficial to enhance the magnetoelectric effect in composite. In composite, the induced magnetic anisotropy in cobalt ferrite is also beneficial to enhance the magnetoelectric effect in composite. In composite. The next one is hard ferrites. The next one is hard ferrites. So in contrast, the permanent ferrite magnets are made of hard ferrites. We have some of the permanent ferrites. We have some of our permanent magnets are made of hard ferrites, which have a high coercivity and high remanence after magnetization. After magnetization. And the high coercivity means the material are very resistant to becoming demagnetized, and essential characteristic for a permanent magnet. For a permanent magnet. And they also have high magnetic permeability, and they also have high magnetic permeability, these so-called ceramic magnets. This is called as ceramic magnetic. These ceramic magnetics are the ceramic magnets are cheap, which means that low cost, cheap, and are widely used in household products. Are widely used in household products. Are used in household products such as a refrigerator magnet. Refrigerator magnets. In the refrigerator we have magnets. So in that we are using these ceramic magnets. And the maximum magnetic field B is about 0.3 Teslas. And the maximum magnetic field B is about 0.35 Tesla. And the magnetic field strength H is about 30 to 160 kilo ampere tons per meter. The magnetic field strength H is about 30 to 160 kilo ampere tons per meter. Or else you need to represent like this also, 400 to 2000 oersteds. Okay. And the density of ferrite magnets is about 50 grams per centimeter cube. The density of ferrite magnets is about 5 grams per centimeter cube. And the most of common hard ferrites are strontium ferrite, which will be represented like this, which is used in small electronic motors, and the microwave devices recording media, and the the magneto-optic media, and telecommunications and electronic industries. So where you are using these common hard ferrites means in the microwave devices and recording media and magneto-optic media and telecommunications and electronic industry. We are using this type of ferrites. We are using these type of devices. So in such type of devices you are using these ferrites. And this strontium hexaferrite is well known for its high coercivity due to its magnetocrystalline anisotropy. It has been widely used in industrial applications as permanent magnets, and because they can be powered and formed easily. It has been widely used in industrial applications as permanent magnets, and because they can be powered and formed easily. And they are finding their applications into micro and nanotypes also. They are finding their applications. They are finding their applications into micro and nanotypes also. And the systems such as biomarkers and biodiagnostics and biosensors. And some of the nanotypes are systems such as biomarkers, biodiagnostics, and biosensors. Biosensors. So the next one is barium ferrites. The next one is barium ferrites. So this is the barium ferrite oxide, a common material for permanent magnet applications. For permanent magnet applications. A barium ferrites are robust ceramic. A barium ferrites are robust ceramics that are generally stable to moisture and corrosion resistant. Corrosion resistant. The barium ferrites are robust ceramics that are generally stable to moisture and corrosion resistant. And they are used in example. So where you need to apply or where these barium ferrites are applicable means in the loudspeaker magnets and as a medium for magnetic recording. As a medium for magnetic recording. For example, on magnetic strip cards. On magnetic strip cards. So the next one is how to provide the productions, ferrite productions. So the ferrites are produced by heating a mixture of oxides of the constituent metals at high temperatures as shown in this idealized equation. Ferrite oxide plus zinc monoxide, which represent zinc ferrite oxides. These ferrites are produced by heating a mixture of the oxides of the constituent metals at high temperatures as shown in this idealized equation. Just you need to see the equation. Just you need to see the equation. In some cases, the Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. We have problems, our problems. Yeah. So this is the production. This is the production of ferrites. The ferrites are produced by heating a mixture of oxides of the metals at high temperatures as shown in this idealized equation. Just you need to remember. You need to see the equation. You need to see the equation. This is the equation. Production equation. Just you need to remember. So in some cases, the mixture of this precipitates is pressed into a mold. This means that for barium and rhodium ferrites, these metals typically supplied as their carbonates, barium carbonates or sodium carbonates. Okay, so during the heating process, these carbonates undergo calcination. Undergo calcination. Calcination is nothing but heating to high temperature in air or oxygen. Calcination means heating to high temperature in air or oxygen. However, the calcination is also used to measure the thermal treatment process in absence limited supply for air. Just you need to remember heating to high temperature in air or oxygen means a calcination. Okay, just you need to see here. This is the expression during the heating process. So after this step, the two oxides combine to give the ferrite. So this means that the resulting mixture of the oxides undergo sintering. You know, it is sintering means frittase is the sintering is the process of compacting or forming a solid masses of material by heating without melting. By heating without melting is called sintering. So after having the which obtain the ferrites, the cool product is milled to particles smaller than 2 micrometer, sufficiently small that each particle consisting of a single magnetic domain. Single magnetic domain. The next power is pressed into a shape, dried and resintering. Resintering. And the shape and the shaping may be performed in a performed in an external magnetic field in order to achieve a preferred orientation of the particles. Which means that a small and geometrically AC shape may be produced with dry pressing. With dry pressing. However, in such a process, small particles may agglomerate and lead to poor magnetic properties compared to the wet pressing process. Wet pressing process. And the dielectric calcination and sintering without remilling is possible as well, but leading to poor magnetic properties. Which means that the electromagnetics are pre-sintering as well as milled and pressed. However, the sintering takes place in a specific atmosphere, for instance, one with an oxygen shortage. This means that the chemical composition and especially the structure vary strongly between the precursor and the sintering products. This means that to allow the efficient staking of a product in the furnace during sintering and prevent pot sticking together. This means that many manufacturers separate with using ceramic powder, separate sheets. This means that these sheets are available in various material such as aluminium and zirconia and magnesia. This means that they are also available in fine, medium and coarse particle sizes. By matching the material and particle size to the way being centered, which means that surface damage and contamination can be reduced while maximizing furnace loading. Maximizing furnace loading. Next, uses. The ferrite cores are used in electronic inductors, transformers, and electromagnets, where the high electric resistance of the ferrite leads to very low eddy current losses. They are commonly seen as a lump in a computer cable, which is called as a ferrite bed, which helps to prevent high frequency electrical noise. This means that radio frequency interference from existing or entering the equipment. This will be helps to prevent high frequency electrical noise from exiting or entering the equipment. So the early computer memories stored data in the residual magnetic fields of hard ferrite cores, which were assembled into arrays of core memories. Arrays of core memories. And the ferrite powders are used in the coating of magnetic recording tapes. The ferrite powders are used in the coatings of magnetic recording tapes. And the ferrite particles are also used as a component of radar absorbing materials or coating used in stealth aircrafts. So in the absorption tiles lining, the rooms are used for electromagnetic compatibility measurements. And the most common audio magnets, including those used in the loudspeakers and electromagnetic instrument pickups of ferrite magnets. This means that except for certain vintage products, the ferrite magnets have largely displaced the more expensive oligomagnets in these applications. This means that in particular for hot hexaferrites, today the most common uses are still as permanent magnets. Permanent magnets. Permanent magnets in refrigerator gaskets. And the microphones and loudspeakers, the small motors for cordless appliances and in automobile applications. The ferrites are nanoparticles which exhibit super permanent properties. So these uh, uh, are related to ferrites. These are the related to ferrites.